Immediately cramp, cramp in the hip flexor, cramp in the quads. It was cramp in the other quad. Oh fuck! The heat and humidity will just crack you wide open. Oh fuck! That was the only thing that like could not happen. So, raced US Open. I jumped on the plane the next day, flew to Asia, to Thailand. 28-hour travel. Killed me slowly. I flew to Phuket, I had a mini camp there for 12 days or so. Yeah, and then I flew straight to Singapore for the PTO Asian Open.
What was your general just feelings getting there, and how did you like the city?
I think it was a pretty epic place to have a race. You know, you go there and it's like everything is flat, but PTO somehow managed to find the only climbing there was on basically the whole place, the whole area. It's pretty clear that it's a hotspot for, you know, trading and companies, and it's very wealthy. It's very clean as well. Yeah, so it was a big experience just getting there, because it's like there's skyscrapers everywhere, and it's very majestic in some way.
Nice. And then coming to race morning, it was a late start again. How did you like that, and take us through waking up on race morning?
Yeah, I woke up quite late on race morning. I really like it, because here you can actually get a decent amount of sleep. When we do every other race, it's like you wake up 4 in the morning or so, maybe 3 in the morning, and you have to get breakfast and all that. And you never sleep because your heart is pumping, and you already have that kind of nervous tension because it's leading into a race. So here it's actually nice to have, you can wake up, you can do a light session to get the body going, and a proper meal, kind of relaxed, and then basically just ease down to the start area, where things then start to tense up, and you get to that kind of race day feeling. Yeah, I like it. I know there's some people who don't really like it, but I think it's a good way to start. Also, the fact that when we're done, it's time to have dinner, where normally it's when we're done, it's time to have brunch. That's kind of strange.
Take us through the build up to the start, so racking the bike, warm up on the swim, the environment, fans.
Yeah, so here it's quite unique. It was only 20 guys starting, and so basically all of us, we rode down to the start together and racked our bikes, made everything ready, and already there it was really warm, so you just wanted to finish as quick as possible. And we had to walk a little bit to the, I think it was 1,000 meters or so to the start area. So, just racked the bike pretty quick. Had a bit of a chat with some of the guys, and just got going. And then it was just about get some swim warm up done, couple of drills, couple of what's it called? Speed work, just to warm up, get the heart rate up a little bit. And here it was a bit different because it was 32-degree water, so it was quite hot, and you didn't want to overheat too early, so you had to manage that kind of while still being ready to push when the gun like when the gun would go. So.
And how are you like physically feeling, and I guess mentally, in the like hour leading up to the start, and or just like in the prep?
I was ready to go. I think it was a good decision to go to Thanyapura beforehand, just to get ready for the heat and the humidity. And also I had kind of I had a plan to just stick to my own race, because I thought like you would blow up. Like if you just went too hard, then it would not be sustainable. And I was pretty sure that the last 30 minutes on the run, that would be kind of crucial. Turned out I was right, unfortunately, this time. Yeah, so I was pretty calm, actually, before the race. Because when you have a plan, it's like, then you just have to execute it. But sometimes that can also be pretty tough to actually stay within yourself and execute the plan you've laid down. And then of course, you know, dealing with the heat, dealing with the humidity, it's difficult. So there was a little bit of doubt beforehand, but I was like, I've done what I could in the lead up, and then there's nothing more I could kind of give. So this is, it's again, it's just about executing the plan, basically.
And what song did you walk out to?
I didn't walk out to any song.
Oh, they didn't have it?
I was not good enough.
Oh.
Yeah.
What song would have it been? Or are you going to save it?
I'm going to save it.
Okay. Okay, so yeah, take us through the swim from the gun.
Yeah, so jumped in the water, found the lead pretty quick. Could see it was either Josh or Royal who had the lead. So I thought I would just stay on the feet and then take the next kind of. So we had 1,000 meters first, and then Australian exit. Jump in, and then we did another loop leading into the T2. I thought like we had to kind of keep the pace high. It was a little bit too easy to be on Josh's feet, and I was pretty sure that it's because obviously we want to push the pace, but also it's difficult when the temperatures are that high. Then you don't want to like cook yourself completely. And I was pretty sure I couldn't swim much faster. So on the first lap, I was like, okay, I'm gonna stay on his feet, and then I'm gonna make a surge afterwards. And then hopefully we dropped somebody, which was not the case this time. But if we hadn't, then maybe we could do something. Yeah, so we stayed there, or we swam the first loop, and then we jumped in the water after the Australian exit, me in the lead. And what happens, my glasses just, you know, we jump with so much force or speed that my glasses just went down and went up again, so I couldn't see shit afterwards. And I was like, oh, fuck, that was the only thing that could not happen. And I swam, like did a quick assessment in my head, like, okay, so if I go to the side and let somebody else take the lead, then there would be the risk of things just slow down completely. And that would be quite bad. Because, you know, people would think like, oh, he's not eager to work either, or like who would then take over, and a whole bunch of risk. But I couldn't see anything, so it was like, oh, okay, I'm just gonna navigate as good as possible, and then I'm swim like towards the like first buoy, what I think is the first buoy, where we had to do a left turn. So I did that, and I could kind of see there was something red out there. Swam towards that and turned around, and then my problem was now I couldn't see shit either, because it was like I don't know where to go. Yeah, so I just went for it, and unfortunately it was on the wrong side of the of the line, of the pace line. So it was kind of stupid. But then again, there was nothing left to do. And then I just realized when there was a canoe kind of straight in front of me, telling me to go over there. So I just kind of did some backstroke, emptied the goggles, and then yeah, found my way back to the group.
So then, yeah, T1.
So we had T1. Came up in a massive group. I think it was quite solid, nothing crazy, but it was a big group, and I knew that people would overpace it, especially the guys coming from straight from Europe or the States. So I, on the first 2 laps, I just kept it very conservatively, and I could see people already there started to, yeah, they pushed it pretty hard, and it's tough to believe in your own tactics or your own plan when people just kind of go up the road. Yeah, and I just kept my head down and pushed. Focus on nutrition, focus on cooling, focus on keeping the pace and like solid position. And then I actually think we had to do 8 laps of 10 kilometers, and I think after the 3rd lap or so, I'm pretty sure it was actually only, or maybe 4th lap. I think it was only Himeruk who rode the same pace, although like at least in the front, maybe Sam also, Sam Long, but I'm pretty sure I rode harder or faster than the rest of the guys on the second part of the bike, which was also the plan, and that just tells how tough it is to do a race here, because the heat and humidity will just crack you wide open. Like yeah, it's really tough to deal with, especially on a course also where we had a lot of places where you were not riding that fast on the bridges, and you just have the sun directly on top of you, and you have the high humidity, so you're just cooked completely. Yeah, and it was just a balance of like trying to at the aid station, there was only 1 aid station per lap, and it was just, you just try to get like 2 bottles of water every time, and it was only like, I don't know, 17 minutes or so per lap, but you just needed those 2 bottles to spray with water and to cool down, and like, it's crazy how important that stuff is. Only on it's not even 20 minutes per lap. Normally that's not really the case. If you miss a bottle, like at most races we only have like on a half, we only use like 2 bottles from the aid stations maybe to spray, and then we have 2 bottles on the bike for hydration, and that's kind of it. Here I'm pretty sure I got through 10 bottles or so, 15 bottles, and that was not even enough. So it just tells how crazy it actually is. And I'll say, like, with the 20-man start list of only 20 guys, the fact that it was just completely split. There were small groups, but it was very small groups. Especially on the last part of the bike, it was like 2 guys here, 2 guys there, 1 guy. It was everybody against everybody kind of scenario. Got into T2, got off the bike, immediately cramp in the hip flexor, and I was like, oh shit, that's not what you want when you have to run 18K in this environment. And okay, took one of my shoes on, and then cramp in the quads. Oh shit, the other shoe, cramp in the other quad. Oh fuck. And it was just like trying to move awkwardly around just to get some kind of, I don't know, place where you could take your shoe on. And then because I thought so much about the cramp and how to get rid of it, I forgot to put the stuff in my bag. everything in the back, and I kind of, otherwise you'll get a penalty. So I was like, I just ran 20 minutes out, and I realized, oh shit, and then I have to run back, and I think I had a like 1 minute slower transition than anybody else, but I couldn't get moving like in any way. And then it was just like back to work kind of. I just tried to focus as much as possible on cadence and heart rate, because I was like, in a race like this, it doesn't really matter. You can't really put a pace or anything to it. Like, you just have to. I watched the women's race the day before, and it looked, I'm pretty sure now it didn't feel like it, but it looked like Ashley was kind of jogging the first lap or so. I think it was kind of the same feeling we also had to go by. Like, really, the first lap should really feel like you're just jogging, and it also did. But from there, it was just 1.5 loops in, I was completely dead, gone. It was insane. You know, my core heat sensor said I had like 41.6 in core temperature. That's definitely a new high with a couple of degrees. Yeah, that was sick, and I just felt like I felt sick, and I felt the last loop I was like, this has to stop. I felt so uncomfortable, and at the same time, you just have to focus on your job, focus on your task ahead, focus on your next footstep and all that stuff. And it's insane. And the loop was not that easy either. There was like a false, I don't know what it was, some architecture. We had to kind of run up. So there was quite a few meters of altitude within meters of climbing within a very short amount of time, and that just, it killed me completely. So yeah, I was lost. The last lap completely tried to keep it together as good as possible, and I could hear the splits, so I knew there was a couple of guys coming from behind, and there was nothing I could do when they overtook me. Yeah. Josh Hamburger, he shouted at me when there was like 1,500 meters left. He was like, or maybe 2K, I can't remember. But I remember he said like, yeah, the 25 meters back, come on, now you push. And I was like, yeah, I can't. So yeah, ended up, what, 6th again? Yeah. It is as it is.
Yeah, crossing the finish line, you looked pretty... many things, but did you have a pretty bad leg cramp, or you were holding for like half an hour after?
I had a cramp it was cramping in my back and my glutes and my hip flexor and the side of my quad, and everything was kind of, just felt bad. Went to the athlete lounge, and that's kind of a problem when you race a race like that. I saw a couple of other athletes also had the same problem. The fact that you feel so and you are so dehydrated after the race that you cross the finish line and you're just drinking and drinking and drinking. But the problem is the body cannot really tolerate that much fluids. So I went to the athlete's lounge. I just vomited so much afterwards because I've been drinking that much, and I felt terrible. Yeah, maybe not the smartest move. And then I had to do the mandatory pee in a cup, anti-doping, and yeah, basically I couldn't. So it took, how much took it? 2 hours, I think, to do because obviously there's no pee left in my body, like it left through my skin. So yeah, that was a bit of a hectic after post-race shenanigans.
So, but overall race in Singapore, race experience, did you like it and you want to go back?
PTO just brings something else to the table than what we're used to, and that's pretty clear to feel from an athlete standpoint, from a race venue standpoint. You can also see how they incorporate age group racing now. I think the whole experience to race in the biggest cities in the world and most iconic places, that's just, it's what we need also to like make it more interesting for outside viewers as well to follow the sport. And I mean, what's also really cool about it is the fact that we have we have different courses that can suit different kind of types of athletes. Obviously, we have Christian and Jason West, who have just raced really good throughout this season. But we could have different kind of races in different places where that can suit, you know, people who struggle with heat. Maybe will not do that well in Singapore, but they will have another place in I don't know, Europe, where that will suit them better. And I think in general, just kind of trying to rethink triathlon a bit on how to make the races, what distances it should be, if it should be like a set distance, or maybe you could mix it up a little bit. As long as we have that kind of 3.5 hour race, then we could maybe mix up the distances a little bit, but make it tougher in other areas, or different in other areas. So I think, you know, when it is about racing in the biggest cities and the kind of new venues PTO are bringing, that's awesome. And also you can feel the triathlon hype is quite big in Asia as well. It's really starting to build, and they are. It's very clear for a European and especially a Dane how other people really appreciate you coming to their countries and race or train. That's quite nice as an athlete, that you feel welcome. So that was it for today. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. And next up will be a training video from Club La Santa Sport in Lanzarote, the Danish embassy in Spain. Ciao, ciao, ciao. Ciao, ciao, ciao.